What's going on, my beautiful fragrance family, and welcome back to My2Scents. I hope each and every one of you are doing fantastic today. My name is Brian, and this is the channel all about helping boost your confidence through the art of fragrance and becoming a lasting scent memory. Rose fragrances. That's right, just like this shirt right here, all right? There's a little floral pattern on it. There's some roses sitting in it. What I love about this shirt is it gets attention. It's a bit of a statement maker, just like rose fragrances. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I really didn't get into rose fragrances till about 5 years ago. I thought they were a little bit too feminine. You know, I was like, oh, roses. Only chicks wear roses. But I quickly realized how much I actually enjoy rose-centric fragrances. Not only are roses beautiful, but the fragrance that comes off of roses is phenomenal. And the funny thing about roses, the reason that they protrude the scent that they do is to deter bugs and insects from jumping on top of them and sucking out their juices or pollen. So the scent that's supposed to deter insects and bugs, we as humans find delectable and opulent and beautiful. So today I want to go over 10 rose-centric fragrances that I think would be perfect for you if you are thinking about getting into rose fragrances. Trust me, gentlemen, women love receiving roses. Women also love the smell of roses. And you, my friend, need to stop to smell the roses. Because rose fragrances, they're not just made for the ladies. These are going to be 10 unisex rose fragrances that I think are definitely worth a whiff and sniff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. Whiffs and sniffs. The way that I'm going to do this list, it's not really in any particular order. What I want to do is go with like the least challenging of the rose fragrances that I have and get into the more challenging rose fragrances. And the first one on my list comes from Franck Olivier, and it's Oud Touch. For the price that you can get this at, $20 at discounters, maybe a little more expensive than $20, this is a fantastic route to start your rose journey. Because it's not just rose. There is some oud in it, obviously. A synthetic oud, but it's a really good synthetic oud. You also get some caramel and raspberry up top. So you get this nice sweetness that blends very well with the rose in this and helps it be a little bit more sweeter. There's a nice earthiness to it. And that oud just adds a nice masculine touch. Though I think it's completely unisex, this would be a great avenue to stop and smell the roses. You also get a nice olibanum in it, which is giving it a nice incensey, frankincense vibe that's flowing through it. A little bit smoky, a little spicy. It's a really long-lasting fragrance on my skin, and for the price you can get it at, check your discounters. Franck Olivier Oud Touch would be great. So first one on my list is Franck Olivier Oud Touch. Next on my list, I've said this before, and I'll say it till I'm red in the face. See what I did there? And it comes from Zaharoff, and it's Signature Rosé. I love this fragrance. I absolutely love this fragrance. As you can see, I mean, look how much juice has gone out of that bottle. This is one of the best unisex rose fragrances that I've ever put my nose on. It does have this nice oud in it. It's got a nice creamy dry down with some sandalwood, some other woody facets, and then there's this beautiful incense and myrrh. It's a beautiful fragrance, especially on the rose side. There's 2-3 different types of rose in here. I think there's Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose. So you get a few of the different aspects. You get some earthiness, you get a little bit of a powderiness, and you get some really nice sweet candied rose. If you haven't yet, check my description down below and go to the world of Zaharoff. Request a sample, see for yourself. But this is a fantastic rose, especially if you're a beginner into getting into rose or wherever you're at on your fragrance journey. This would be a great addition to any arsenal. So next up is Zaharoff Signature Rosé. All right, so this next one really surprised me because I was very unsure about picking it up just because of the bottle. And it comes from Moschino, and it's Toy Boy. Very interesting bottle, I will say. Little teddy bear. And this teddy bear says, oh, you don't like rose fragrances? Roses are red, violets are blue. If I had a brick, I'd throw it at you. That quote right there totally goes with this bottle. But I was very surprised when I first sprayed this juice. I was like, this is a great rose fragrance. But it's not just rose. There's this really nice musk that is flowing through the veins of this fragrance. But of course, there is rose. There is also, I believe, some jasmine, magnolia. It starts off with a nice tart pear, some pink pepper. You have some elemi resin that's in this. This is more niche quality than designer, honestly. This is a really good release. I was very impressed with this fragrance. This is completely unisex. Even though it's geared for the men, they have Toy Boy 2 for the ladies. Comes in a white bottle, just like this. The rose in it is beautiful. I highly recommend it because you can find this at discounts for a stinking good price. So Moschino Toy Boy is one that you definitely need to stop and smell the roses with. This next one has not been discontinued yet in the line, but a lot of the amazing fragrances from the private collection of Tom Ford are getting discontinued quickly. And this one right here is one of my favorites, Noir de Noir. This has a beautiful saffron in it. Again, completely unisex. This actually has black rose in it, and it's got this nice truffle note. It's got some vanilla, a beautiful patchouli. This is one of my favorite releases from Tom Ford in the private collection. This is a little bit more challenging. You do have a nice powderiness from the rose. It has a nice sweetness flowing through it, but it has some nice green facets coming from the patchouli. And then you have this nice oud that's in it. And the oud isn't like funky whatsoever. It's a nice sweet, woody, kind of musky type of oud. Tom Ford does something right with his private collection. At least he used to. And Noir de Noir is definitely an attention getter. This will turn some heads, gentlemen. Turn some heads. So next up, Tom Ford, Noir de Noir. This next one is a recent pickup of mine, but I freaking love this fragrance. And it comes from Anka Kus, and it's Jezebel. Totally unisex. Does have some feminine DNA running through it, but it has some masculine DNA running through it as well. I really like the way this starts out. You have this like chocolate and tart pear, and then you're also going to get this beautiful rose. So it dries down kind of sweet and powdery. This isn't just based on that rose though. It is the predominant note in it, but you also have some other floral characteristics. You have a nice creamy sandalwood in it, some vanilla sweetness, and a few spices flowing through it, which keep that from going overly feminine or overly masculine. Really high quality juice for the price you can get it at. I mean, 50 mLs are 110 bucks. I'm loving everything I've gotten from Anka Kus. This is definitely one that you need to stop and smell the roses with. Anka Kus Jezebel. Next on my list is a very affordable oud rose combo. And it comes from Mancera, and it's Aoud Exclusif. This starts out with this really nice leathery saffron combo. You have some nice spices flowing through it. Of course, you're going to have rose and oud. And the oud in this has a little bit of a touch of funk to it, but what it does is it combines with that rose and creates like this nice, slightly sweet, earthy rose. More along the lines of smelling like the stem of the rose and all the characteristics of the rose. A little synthetic, but that's okay. For the price you can get Mancera's at discounters, totally worth it. Totally worth it. A little bit challenging, I will say that. But if you're up for a challenge, this is a great avenue to go. Mancera, Aoud Exclusif. So I had to throw one in here that is literally, it is geared and sold for the ladies, but I love rocking it. And it comes from Alexandre J, and it is Rose Alba. Man, this is such a fruity, dark, rich rose fragrance. I'm going to spray a little bit right now. I love this fragrance. The opening is a little challenging, but every time I've worn this fragrance, I turn some heads, man. It's crazy. Definitely a little bit more suited up. Not something I would really wear casually because I've never worn it casually. But this is a dark rose, a dark, jammy rose. You have some nice incense flowing through it, some nice spices. It's really focused on a whole lot of rose and a jammy, sweet, rich, deep rose. I believe there's also some oud in here, and it has some lasting power. This thing will last. Now, again, this is geared for the ladies, but men, there's no reason you can't rock this. This has enough warmth and masculine DNA flowing through it that I believe it can be worn by any man. As long as that man rocks this with confidence, he will certainly get some attention. Beautiful fragrance. Annoying bottle, but beautiful fragrance. This one is very new to my collection, and I actually did not realize how much of a rose fragrance this really is. And it's a fingerprint magnet, and comes from the house of Kajal, and it's Lamar. Now this has this really beautiful, realistic pineapple that pops right off the top. I believe there's also some apple in here, some fruity notes, some red berries. But then when it starts drying down, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, wait a second, this is a rose-centric fragrance. And it is. And it's this really nice, sweet, powdery rose. You get a little bit of fruitiness from the rose, and that's just coming from the leftovers of the opening from all the fruity notes. but this is awesome. 100% unisex. Fragrantica will tell you that this leans more feminine. No. You have this really nice creamy woody dry down, but it is really just based around rose. Because the fruity pineapple, that pineapple opening does not last that long. It really just transitions into a beautiful rose. I really love this fragrance. This is one that isn't very challenging. Because of that fruity opening, the way that it dries down, this is sexy. Definitely sexy. The day that I rocked this, I went out, I was hitting up the rack stores. I had like 4 people stop me and ask me what I was wearing, and it's Kajal Lamar. And it wasn't just women. It was 3 women and 1 guy. I was actually very surprised. But if you're thinking about diving into a rose bed, check Kajal Lamar out. This is very impressive. This next one is a beaut. And it comes from Terence Hughes, and it's Onyx. Onyx Extreme is on its way to my house as we speak, and I can't wait. It's rich, it's warm. The rose is done splendiferously in this, and also the oud. Very natural smelling oud. Has a slight funk to it, but what it does is adds a little bit of a powdery characteristic with that fruity sweet rose. You also have these really beautiful patchouli aspects and earthy aspects combining and blending with that oud and the rose. Super long-lasting fragrance. This is truly a magnificent oud rose combo. All my subscribers who told me I need to get my nose on this, well, you were right. I was wrong for not picking this up sooner. I don't find this challenging in any way, shape, or form. I just find this opulent, rich, resinous, warm, and magnificent. Onyx, incredible. Get yourself a little 10 ml like this, see for yourself. Last but not least, it has to be on here. It comes from one of my favorite perfumers, and it was the rose fragrance that actually started my journey into rose fragrances. My ex and I were at a Frederic Mall boutique, and we were sampling, and Portrait of a Lady came up. I bought a bottle. This is my 2nd bottle. I freaking love this fragrance. Portrait of a Lady. I know a lot of you out there are like, wait, it's called Portrait of a Lady. But this is 100% unisex. This is all about a very photorealistic rose. From the thorns to the stems to the green facets, down to each and every petal of the rose. The patchouli that's in this is fantastic. I freaking love what Dominic Ropion did here. He created a masterpiece of a rose fragrance because everybody was doing rose that was sweet or powdery or jammy or candied. This is every facet of a rose. He did a phenomenal job pulling out every facet of a rose, and he put it into a beautiful fragrance. Brings back a lot of memories. Definitely took some confidence for me to start rocking this, but I'm really glad that I took that leap into the rose bed because this is fantastic. Dominic Ropion hit one out of the park, as he does so many times. If you have not yet, get yourself a sample of Portrait of a Lady and see for yourself. So there it is, guys. I've never done a rose-centric list, and I really wanted to let you guys know in on some of the rose fragrances that I really love wearing. Rose fragrances can be challenging, but the more something challenges you, the more you're gonna work, the better you're gonna become, the more attention you'll get because you have it here, because your confidence in yourself is building up and you can wear whatever fragrance you want. And always remember, my friend, you are the compliment. You rock any fragrance with confidence, you have confidence in yourself, so you build the confidence right here and right here. It doesn't matter what fragrance you decide to rock, it'll do its job because you are doing yours. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. If you enjoyed today's episode, then like, comment, share, and subscribe. And always remember, you are stinking beautiful. And until next time, happy scent trails.